Do players get mistreated in hockey? Today's video is going to be about the hush-hush culture and certain things that go under the radar in hockey. Welcome back everybody to another 𝗚𝗂𝗶𝗴 video. This one has been very frequently requested by tons of you in the comments and in the DMs. So today we're going to talk about things that get swept under the rug. The first one is about player mistreatment. Now, especially at the junior level, players know that you're only as good as your last game, and you'll only be there as long as the coach still wants you there. You can get traded, you can get released quite often in juniors, and it happens to so many players. Now, if you get on your coach's bad side, yeah, he's gonna turn a cold shoulder to you. This is a business. This is junior hockey. This is how things go. If you did something to piss him off, you broke the rules, you acted out, you disrespected him, I can guarantee you he's gonna bury you in the lineup or he's gonna put you in the stands. He's not gonna give you the time of day. Now, people call that mistreatment, but if you started it, at some point, it's on you. You're an adult now, you need to take responsibility for your actions. Wow, where if you're going to your coach's office, you're asking, coach, I understand I'm on the fourth line, that's where you see me. I'd like to earn more opportunities. Can you tell me what to work on? And he does the same thing. That's a completely different story, because now you're going with the approach of, I understand my role on this team. I'd like to do more. Can you help me get there? Now, if you're getting mistreated with that, if there's coaches that are burying you and saying, well, you're not my top guy, I'm not interested in helping you, that's a different story. And unfortunately, that does happen in certain teams and certain leagues. I can't say which ones because it's really team by team across both Canada, US, even in Europe, right? This depends the coach, his mentality, his mindset, how he interacts with the players, what he thinks his role in the team is. If it's just to promote the top guys to make him look good, or if it's to overall take care of the players and develop them into men. Because at some point, hockey ends for everybody, and you got to take the lessons you learn in hockey and add them to your regular everyday life. The other thing about taking care of your players, and this one happens more common than not, is the injury protocol. And I'm bringing that up because oftentimes players' injuries will be swept under the rug, will not be properly taken care of. If you got a bad hit to the head, the 10-day protocol isn't enough. It isn't. You should be taking longer, extra precautions, a few extra days, extra testing to make sure that you come back 100%. As somebody who has 4 major concussions and a few minor ones, I deal with the consequences now as an adult, and I wish I would have taken more time with them. I wish my coaches would have said, it's okay to take a few extra days. I'd rather you come back healthy and okay for the rest of your life rather than rush back for a big game. Now, I didn't have that luxury. That's okay. And oftentimes players do that. They're scared of losing their spot in the lineup, so they rush back to get back into play. They're not 100%. They're not playing well. It affects them physically, mentally, confidence-wise. It affects them long-term because now they're playing on an injury, making it worse. And overall, it affects everything. It doesn't help the team either because you're playing injured. Your long-term health is much more important than the few extra games you're going to miss. And that does happen, especially in junior hockey, where you'll miss some extra games. And I'm not saying all junior teams. There's many junior programs that are very good, very well-rounded, and honestly want to take care of their players both on and off the ice and want them to become great men. They don't care about making the NHL. They want you to become a great person, and that's what they're there for. And it's a great mentality to have. But there are still some that don't treat their players that way, unfortunately. Don't have a medical supervisor at all their games, or a physio or an athletic trainer, because they think, well, it's a bad bruise, get up and shake it off. Unfortunately, there is a lot of substance abuse that happens throughout midget hockey or U18 hockey, junior hockey, and pro hockey. And nowadays, teams are doing a much better job at taking care of their players and steering them down the right path, or if they've already gone down the wrong path, trying to bring them back. Unfortunately, the education's not there beforehand, right? They're not stopping it beforehand. Players are still getting away with using things they should not, that are not good for them, and going down the rabbit hole. With all the stress, with all the pressure they're under, they tend to go towards these substance abuse, whether it's alcohol, drugs, or anything like that. They tend to go down that hole. There are more and more teams getting involved with their players at an earlier age so that they can teach them the right way and help them cope with these problems before they lean towards the wrong solutions, whether that's through sports psychologists, through therapy, through group meetings, through the buddy system, whatever it is. There is a bunch of things happening in junior hockey and in the pros where now it's doing better. You'll still see the players going through it. You still see NHL players going through the 𝗚𝗂𝗶𝗴 players program, and same thing with junior hockey, but it is swept under the rug. The problems are swept under the rug until they become too big to deal with, until it gets leaked to the public, until we have a situation where unfortunately something bad happens to that player. If there's something going on, if you need help, a player needs to reach out to a coach. Needs to feel comfortable reaching out to a coach saying, I need help. I need to step away from the team. Can you help me? Right? Because they don't always want to go to mom and dad. They don't. That's the truth about it. And they'd rather go to the coach, to the athletic trainer, to the assistant coach, even to a teammate. And these are problems that shouldn't be swept on the rug. It should be all hands on deck right away before something major happens. Because with the stress and the pressures they put on themselves, coaches put on them, scouts put on them, that their families put on them, things happen. If that part won't change, the support system needs to. At the bare minimum, they need to have a place where they can go so that it doesn't veer off the tracks and go spiral down into a worse and worse case until something bad happens. So players deal with these things on a daily basis at all the levels. Midgets, juniors, college, pros. It happens all the time. And nowadays, the sports psychologist role has become more dominant. This one happens at all levels, okay? Whether it's through coaches, private skill coaches, teams, organizations, agents, advisors, all of them. When I was playing, I had a handful of advisors that reached out to me. One good one and a handful of rather not, where they wanted to charge me a crazy amount of money and guaranteed me certain things. Oh, you're gonna play on this team for sure if you sign with me. I know the coach personally, don't worry, you'll be there. That is a complete lie. It's not true because he may know the coach personally. That part he might not be lying. He might be able to call him 10, 14, 20 times. But if you get on the ice and you don't do your job, you have no business being there. No business. And that's partly why, as an advisor, they might be taking a cut for you going to a certain place. If it's between England and Finland and he's getting a cut in Finland, he's going to push you to go to Finland more and say, oh, it's a better opportunity for you, you're going to play more. But it's because he's getting a kickback. And they're financially exploiting you because they want that paycheck. And we all know advisors are not cheap. So that's why when you pick an advisor, you make sure to pick the right one that you can trust, and that when he talks to you, it makes sense. Now, when it comes to teams, there is some team exploitation, right? They have bills to pay. In the junior level, tier 1 is free. Some of the tier 2s are free, some of them aren't. Now, I understand that they're taking you on. They got to pay the bus, they got to pay the meals, they got to pay the ice rental, the gear you use, and that's fine. It has a cost to play this game. It's an expensive game and there's a cost to it. But when the team carries 7 goalies, 14 defensemen, and 20 forwards, some part of it is a financial exploitation. They got bills to pay. He's trying to line his pockets as an owner, as a coach, as a GM, whatever it is. If he's got 7 goalies on his lineup, I'm not saying he ran through 7 throughout the season. If he's finished with 3 guys on his lineup, that's fine. But if he's got 7 on the lineup, still, that's crazy. You cannot have 7 goalies in a practice, in a locker room, battling every week. What are they going to get, 5 games each all season? But there's some teams that do that because financially, that's how they make their money. You need to analyze these situations. You need to look at their past rosters. Look how many guys are leaving, how many guys are staying. What did they do last year? Did he run through 7 and only 2 finish the season because they weren't doing the job? Or did he keep them the whole time? Does he do lots of trades throughout the season? Does he bring in a lot of guys? Talk to players who have been there. Do your research so that you're not paying $20,000 for a junior hockey season and only playing 5 games. Or you're taking an Uber to your away games. Yes, we've heard of players taking an Uber to an away game. Okay, we've heard of it. This next one is player eligibility and academic standards. I'm going to emphasize this more at the major junior level, the CHL level. Not even the USHL, because USHL still promotes the college, but the CHL level. The main goal of the CHL is to try to get players to the pros. Not to U Sport, but to the pros. They use the U Sport, all will pay for university. There's a little bribery to get you in at 15, 16 years old. That's the hush-hush about it. They don't care about your grades, okay? There's no academic advisor going to suspend you for failing your classes, for not showing up to class, for not doing your homework, for not studying, for none of that. At the end of the day, if you're registered into classes, you're on the team. And not every organization needs you to be in classes. You can just be a junior hockey player. But some of them in Quebec, I know for a fact, say, well, you either need to be working or a student. And you pick one. And you register to class, but he doesn't care if you actually pass or not. I had a goalie that I worked with. I was his goalie coach for 5 years. In 3 years of playing major juniors, I think he passed 3 classes. He did not do well. And he still was the starting goalie. He played as much as he wanted. He got the practice. He did all of that. Because they don't check his grades. They didn't try to help him. They didn't say, you know what, maybe the pros isn't for you, because he was a great goalie, but I don't think he was ready to go play East Coast at 21 years old. He should have went to U Sports, but nobody provided that information with him. Nobody guided him that besides myself, and he didn't take school seriously. They didn't help prepare him for that U Sports level. They didn't whatsoever. And unfortunately, now he's playing beer league. They do not have academic expectations for you. You're registered to class. They think you're going to school. You're not. It's okay. It's okay to fail, because their goal is to get you to the pros. That is their main focus, is to get you to the pros, not to the next level, not to the gap year, not to prepare you as a human being afterwards for the workforce, none of that. And then in tier 2, there is a lot of tier 2 programs that have attachments to school, but they won't suspend you if you don't perform. They will not suspend you from playing if you don't perform academically. Now, that starts from mom and dad, right? You should have a rule with your kid. You're going to go play juniors, you're going to stay away from home. That's perfectly fine. Here's my expectations. You need an 85, you need a B, right? You don't need to be a full-time student. Well, if you're in high school, you do, and that should be easy enough. But if you're taking university courses, you don't need to be a full-time, part-time, so you can keep your eligibility. Because full-time, you start your eligibility, and you start start to lose some time. But some of these programs do not have academic standards. And when they meet with you and they're trying to commit you, they tell you, oh, academics is first, we're preparing you for college, we check their grades, we make sure they're going to class, we make sure this and that and this and that. But the truth is they don't. They don't, because some of my players right now are currently not playing because their grades dropped 2 letter grades, not 1, 2, from a B to a D. So those 2 players are not playing. And I had an unpleasant conversation with the coach because I had to step in and realize that this kid's future is at stake. He's in high school. Your grades come first. If they're preparing you for college hockey, your grades should come first. They should make sure that you're succeeding. You could be a C student as long as you're working your hardest to get that C, and it's not because you're lazy and slacking off and missing homework and missing exams and not going to class. That's a different story. But you need to understand that the academics are part of it, especially if you want to play college hockey. College hockey, I can't emphasize that enough. So make sure when a coach is promising you they take care of you on and off the ice, make sure again you're looking at everything. This affects your future, both on the ice and off. You're there to develop as a hockey player and as a person. Don't forget that when you're looking where you're going to play next. Thank you guys so much for watching today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you got some news, some knowledge that you didn't beforehand, and help clarify some things. Smash that like button. Don't forget to subscribe and comment down below your thoughts on this video. Have a great day, everybody.